Divine Rising, guys. Hi, the Southern Goddess. Me and my big sis here. We are here on our next segment, and this time we are talking about let's talk perspectives. Woo! Everybody have their own perspective, sis.
Yes. And they also like to push it out on other people.
Very much so.
So
Very much so.
today we're going to help you learn to keep your perspective in perspective of yourself and not in perspective of others.
Sure.
What this is, what our purpose here, or what we're trying to accomplish here, is so that people will stop walking around being in other people's lives, not knowing that they're bringing portions of that into their life.
Yes.
Being able to perceive something as the observer versus being able to perceive something as the judger. And we've only been taught one way, but if you learn another way and you learn to or start to put that into practice, everything that we talk about is something that you have to put into practice. You have to be conscious of it daily. Yeah. It's something that you have to always understand until it becomes a natural practice. And then once it becomes a natural practice, you don't need, it comes to second nature. You don't even have to think about it.
At all, at all. So before we dive too deep in perspective, I'm gonna always come with you with the generic definition, okay? So a way of looking at or understanding something, the ability to view a situation in a balanced and objective way. So you can have a perspective on many different things. Today, sis, I know we were talking about planets and the generational planets and stuff and the different perspectives. We talked about a lot.
We do. We do. We allow ourselves to be able to get a lot of our understandings out, and we juggle them around with each other.
Yes.
We came up with perspective because I've realized something. Now, I'm a Gen X. I wanted to make sure I said that right. I'm a Gen X, okay? So that's right after the baby boomers. So 9 times out of 10, Gen X is raised by baby boomers, unless they were raised by their grandparents, okay? And I noticed that as I was growing up, I heard a lot about, this new generation, this new generation, this new generation, this new generation, this new generation. Now I'm in the age group that I heard people, they were in that age group. I'm there now. And you still hear, like I even hear people younger than me, millennials, that are just a little bit younger than me, talk about, these younger generations perspective. We look down on the younger generations like they want something we have never asked for, which is wrong. Because at some point in our life as a Gen X, I know for a fact as a Gen X, and then some of the millennials have asked to not want to work, to be able to do this a different way, to not have to spend our whole life chasing money to have the things that we want. And then when we see we as Gen X and millennials, late millennial or early millennials that coincide with your Gen Xers, had kids, and the cell phones, we gave them cell phones, and we felt like, well, we went outside. How come they can't go outside and do the things that we did? Well, because we didn't raise them that way. Perspective, right? Perspective. The perspective shows you that if you want your kids to do exactly what you did, then they need to be exactly like you, which is where we came into the planets.
Yep.
There are generational planets that are out there, which are planets that you really can't see with or they're not, no, really can't. They're the planets that you cannot see without a telescope, okay? You can't see these planets with a naked eye. They are the social planets.
The outer
planets. They're the outer planets, but they are the planets that govern like society and how we move in society and who we are in society. So if you take that into consideration, how is Gen X supposed to be like a baby boomer, or supposed to be like a millennial, or supposed to be like your Gen Zs? You see what I'm saying? Our generational planets are what differentiates our generation. If that was the case, they wouldn't have names.
Yeah. I had the pleasure of researching these planets on each generation. And I thought it was pretty dope. It started out with the silent generation. This is the generation before the boomers, between 1928 to 1945. And by the way, after them, every other generation had like two planets. So I guess it was like one half of the generation and the other half of the generation, but this one was the only one I could find one planet, and it was Pluto in Cancer.
So after the baby boomers was supposed to be the largest generation
Mhm.
that is here on the planet as we know of in the
Yeah.
Western understandings,
Mhm.
okay? With them being the largest, they were sectioned into two sections. I don't know if you got both of those names.
Yeah, I wrote it down. I was gonna go through it and see how
Okay,
you
go
do it.
for it.
For the silent one, sis, it was saying that was during the time of the Great Depression
Hmm.
and World War II, a time that refined family and security. So a lot of them collectively needed that safety and security in that generation. They were saying that's probably a collective uh feeling that
Hmm.
they collectively have for the baby boomers, 1946 through
There
1964.
go that Leo.
Pluto and Leo.
Hmm.
Okay, Pluto
So I
representing.
want to clear up something. I did misspeak in the last
Okay,
time.
go ahead,
Instead
sis.
of it being Pluto and Leo, when I said for the baby boomers, I do believe I said Jupiter. So that was my fault. I do recant that. I realized when I said it, it was wrong, and I should have did it then, but I didn't.
It's all good, sis. We all here to
It's
learn.
okay.
It's
I
all
like to I
good.
like to come back and let people know when I'm wrong. It
Yeah, me
shows
too.
my authenticity, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. And
Okay.
her bringing that up is what prompts me to do this because I was like, that's very dope. So, Pluto in Leo, representing your power and transformation in sign of self and ego, strong development, me first attitude, and a sense of entitlement.
This is where a lot of our generation, sorry, I'm
It's
gonna
okay.
chime in.
It's okay.
The Pluto and Leo, if you understand what Leo is out front, Leo is about me, Leo is it's a whole character. And if you run into a Leo, a lot of times you'll know they're Leo because they're dramatic, overly dramatic. Even when they think they're not overly dramatic, they're overly dramatic. You sent me the Instagrammer.
Yeah.
He's got the dreads and he likes to talk about the different zodiacs.
Yeah.
That is definitely Leo energy.
Yes,
You
he
can
definitely
tell.
is. He definitely is.
Outside of them, Gemini could give off that type of energy, but Leo is dominance in the
Mm.
baby boomer situation. The reason why they want you to yes, ma'am, them, respect this, that, and the other.
Mhm.
I earned it. It's that Leo, that their collective group feels that's how they pull out their generational understanding. It's yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. You better respect me
Yeah.
because of my age. Yeah, sit that down.
Yes, I had I ain't gonna say who it is. I ain't even gonna do it, but it's a relative. And I remember being young and I was sitting, the way I was crossing my legs, she was like, "Oh, that's not ladylike." And I'm just like, "What's the deal?" And then it really, really upset her. And I'm like, "What is the deal?" Like
Right.
that they was like so
You'll
strongly.
see a lot of your Karens come out of your baby boom. Well, that's where I know they started. They
You know what?
came
That makes
into,
sense though.
yeah, the Leo and Pluto is all about me, not you. It's about me.
Me. Forget about
Yeah,
you.
it's not about you. It's all
Don't
about me. You're going to give me my respect because I'm still here and breathing. We should. I'm going to say that. We should look at the baby boomers and respect that they're still living and breathing. But that Leo, somebody has to set it down.
and
And that's what
respect
I
is
came here to do.
earned. It's not
Yeah,
given.
well, see, and that's when you look through the other generations that come after them outside of Gen X, because I do know some Gen Xers who act just like baby boomers,
Yeah.
like the sun is on them
Had me
because
thinking, would that be like a reincarnated soul?
no, it's the program that you can see working from the parent onto the child. And
Mm,
as the child gets older, think about it. The only way you know how to parent your kids, especially when they do something that kind of catches you off guard, is to go back to what your parents would do because
yeah.
that's the first understanding
Understanding.
that you have of somebody raising a kid.
That's
So
true.
you're going to go back to that. So if your parent was a screamer, then you should
Okay.
look at yourself and say, I don't want to scream anymore.
Yeah.
We're all Gen X at some point in time, just like the baby boomers. Yes, we were. We didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But once you can see it and understand it and say, well, that's not really me. Why am I doing that? Then you change.
So basically, you get a little trickle of the previous generation, and it's up to you.
Yes, through the
As to,
program.
yes.
Through the program. Yes.
Okay, so the next planet, this is Neptune and Libra. This is for the baby boomers. Contribute to the hippie movements of relationships, free love, peace, and equality. That was another one that I found on Google Gemini.
These dates are wrong.
The 1965 through 79 for
Yeah.
Gen X.
Yeah. Then, but we don't, you see what I'm saying? They're obscured.
Yeah.
So, but I know it didn't, I think it was like 80, 81 that it stopped. And then millennial picks up. But what we don't know is like, so you have to understand the baby boomers is the baby boomers, but at the tail end of the baby boomers, right in this area here, in the early 60s, there was a small generation that they called the Jones generation.
Yeah,
and then what they did is they just put it on the tail end of the baby boomers and just extended the baby boomers out. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. So
Yeah,
we will bump this back maybe 2 years.
you know what? I just wouldn't put the date out there and tell them that it's subjective, because you have to understand it's a 10-year gap, but 10 years from when?
Yeah.
Okay, every 10 years from when?
So I know you Gen X is probably waiting. Which planets? Okay, you got a Pluto in Virgo and Libra. First half with Pluto and Virgo, hard work, authenticity, and a rejection of the superficial. Second half with Pluto and Libra grew up with the increase of divorce. Working parents lead to the latchkey kid phenomenon and normalize new approaches to relationships and home life.
I am very much a Gen X kid. I was a latchkey kid. I wasn't a kid of divorce, but I was in a single parent home until my mother married. Hardworking. We were raised to be hard workers because that's the first thing we were raised to do by our parents, was you work hard or you go to school, especially as Black people.
The superficial part.
I was like, so it says a rejection of superficial. And you know how I am about that. The first thing I say is,
immediately thought of you. I say, yeah, that's it.
It's the first thing I say is that I don't have time for superficial bull crap. But if you look, the reason why most people are in the predicament where they're listening to us and talking and trying to get some understanding is because the superficial is just surface level. And if you're only getting surface level, you're getting 101 information. Okay. Basics. And if you've ever been a person who knew something about something and then took a 101 class, you're sitting there looking at them like, this is the most generic.
I could have did this myself.
Yes. Yes. You don't know until you know. And then when you know, that's when you start to do better. But most people don't want to change, although they do change.
Y'all had another planet too, sis. Uranus and Virgo and Libra brought a desire of individuality and challenge to tradition.
We are very challenged. I'm telling you, when I came in I signed up for this life, I signed up for simple complication. And when I say simple complication, I mean complication that's so simple is actually complicated. And it seems like the more I go through my birth chart, and that's why I wanted to do perspective and perceptions, is because the more I go through my birth chart, the more I'm just like, I said this when I was a kid, but I didn't know what I was asking for.
By the way, sis, I just want to hint that doing this with you, you have been helping me dive deeper into the stuff that I'm interested in. So I was like, okay, let me do the same thing for myself. Thanks. Thanks. Thanks.
Sometimes ignorance really is bliss.
Yes.
Sometimes ignorance is bliss. Sometimes there are some things we shouldn't know, because the more we know, the more complicated it can make things. Yes. So I'm here to say that I'm going to complicate my life so you don't have to.
I think that's the job of an Aquarius.
Okay, let's keep going.
Next one are the millennials. Okay, this is my group here, and I was
Yes,
reading it. I was like, okay, yeah, check, check, and check.
I lived these years.
Key marker for most millennials, intensified themes of privacy, control, profound societal transformation. Generation that grew up with early stages of the internet, you got mail. That, y'all remember that explores deep hidden power dynamics, sometimes leading to more public and intense approach to justice. That's one of the planets. Remember, all the other generations, I got like two planets. The next one is Neptune and Capricorn, forced to reevaluate institutional systems and find new ways to monetize their skills and passions outside of traditional corporate models. Sis just said that earlier, by the way. You literally just said that earlier. It's spot on. There's no need for me to dive deep and explain, but we do love our privacy. That's where we do our most deep thinking, our most creative. And I will say, reading this, I can see where I've rebelled a lot too, as well.
If you know about Capricorn, Capricorn gets a bad rap, and we'll talk about good and bad raps on other zodiac signs as we go. But the perception of Capricorn is they're bossy. Yes, they are. They're bossy when they're in their shadow. They're more reserved and contained when they're in their light. Where they say a lot of times that Aquarius don't deal with emotions. It's not Aquarius itself, it's where the signs lie for Aquarius in their moon.
Yeah, I will say, with a lot of Capricorn in my chart, she's definitely right about the bossy aspect. As a child, I can see the moments where I was very, very bossy, and not a lot of people saw that dark side of me, but in my light, it was much different.
It's just how the planets work. For some reason, we walk into the dark first until somebody turns the light on. Most people don't have their lights on. Yeah. True. And that's perception. So keep going.
Okay, next generation is Generation Z. The two planets, we got Pluto and Neptune. So Pluto and Sagittarius in early Capricorn. Quest for truth, global connection, drive to challenge and outdated beliefs with Pluto and Sag. Reflects an interest in restructuring corrupt systems and business practices with Pluto and Capricorn. Neptune in Aquarius encourages humanitarianism, community, embracing technology, focuses on social justice, creating a better and more progressive world. And I believe that's where your daughters would be in, right, sis? Do you see any traits? Yeah.
So, of course, they're going to carry these traits, but I can also say this, because I came into spirituality, religion, understanding, throughout my life, I've been able to take them through those journeys too. I was blessed with three beautiful women in my life that I can guide and lead, and they get to use that information, how I disseminate it. But I do get to see which ones use it strong and which ones don't when they don't understand. But as long as they have that understanding there, when they need it, they can access it. My youngest one, she seems to be the one that I talk to the most because she's the youngest. She's still in school. And I want her to understand that sometimes we as older generations don't always know what's perfect for you.
No, we don't.
We push ourselves onto our kids. We want for them what we wanted for ourselves. And although that is a good understanding to show that you love somebody, it's not a good understanding to show that you want them to thrive as the person they're supposed to be. So
Ashe. The next generation is Generation Alpha. Now, this is the Alpha, generation where my daughter is in. My daughter is 8. Pluto in Capricorn and Aquarius. Transformation for institutions and the emergence of radical new technologies and community-focused ideals. Rise to the climate, activists, and digitally native behaviors that define Uranus in Taurus, focus on financial invocation, such as cryptocurrency and climate issues. And that was the last generational planet for the generations.
So the point of us going through the generations and give you the understanding is this shows you exactly why we can't say that this new generation needs to understand some things. Mm-hmm. They came in with the understanding they were supposed to, just like we in our generations did too. What we need to learn as the older generations is to nurture our younger generations based off of what their cultural understanding is going to bring them. Their society is not going to look exactly like ours.
It's totally different.
And so for us to look down on them and to say that they're doing it wrong, they should look up and look at us and tell us we're the ones doing it wrong. For the simple fact is that we are. We're doing it completely wrong. We can't force, we should not force who we are onto the next person, whether it's your child, whether it's your twin, whether it's your friend, or whether it's just a person you're crossing in the street, but we do it all the time. How do we do it? Say you see somebody who's walking by and you'd be like, oh, why she wear that?
Yeah, that's probably all she had.
Why wouldn't she wear it?
Mm-hmm. We don't know.
Right? Was it created by somebody that put it in a store where you could buy it, or somebody purchased it at some point in time? Why would she not wear it? The older generations, when my generation started getting tattoos, well, what you want to do that for? It says in the Bible, blah, 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 this and that and other and blah, blah. So before the Bible, they were getting tattoos, and during the Bible, they were getting tattoos, and after the Bible, they're going to be getting tattoos. But people decide that they want to turn their nose up on the things that they don't like. You have all the right, but don't push it on somebody else because it's you're judging them up against.
Half the time, sis, most of the stuff they don't like, they don't even know what it is, or even took a deep dive.
Or they don't know anything about it. Yes, they speak out of ignorance. I understand, go against it all the time. When I speak about the perception of something, we have to understand that we're not all the same. Each one of us have different handprints.
Yes.
That means we have different handprints or thumbprints or fingerprints or whatever you want to call it in this lifetime. My birth chart don't look like yours. My birth chart don't look like sis. And I come to her to talk to her about my birth chart, although we're both Aquarius.
Yes.
I have a lot of things that I have to question in my birth chart. And I come to her because I'm like, look, maybe you can help me figure this daggum stuff out.
And then she's like, with my brain, I'm like,
and
okay.
I'm the same way. I'm mind blown because we are both, our sun signs are the same, but our birth charts do not look the same. And as we're going through this, trying to decipher what we're putting out to you and how we want to physically cause neuroplasticity in your mind, we have to come together and we have to get past that in our minds. This was good for me because by the time you all catch up to this video, we'll be videos deep in.
Yeah.
But it will be time for you to understand this message. Stop looking at these younger generations and saying they don't know. No, they don't know your struggles because they weren't you to go through your struggles.
Know your own inner planets.
Look at them and understand that they are just as beautiful as we thought we were when we were the ones that were new on this planet. Stop pulling people apart and desecrating them because they're not you. If you're unhappy in your life, find that happiness. If you don't know how, then guess what? Pick up on our videos.
Please do. Very helpful. Very knowledgeable. I promise you, you'll laugh.
You see what I'm saying? You'll get something out of them.
Yes.
But taking your perspective out in life is your right, but putting your perspective onto somebody else is judging.
Very much so. And that's where a discussion of clarity should always come in play at times too. Well, to me, it's all the time because you don't want to put your perspective on somebody else, so get that clarity. If you really that nosy.
If you're the person who says, okay, like sis is wearing green and I'm wearing brown, I don't like them colors. Why they wear them colors together? First of all, if you put it in the DM, go ahead. Why y'all decide to wear them colors so I can let you know. Because see, I don't shy away from the negative. What I'm going to do is I'm going to educate you. If you speak out of ignorance, then I'm here to educate you with some knowledge. Wisdom and knowledge is the one thing we should be grasping in this life.
That's
If you
true.
have time to say, why is that person wearing that? Why did they look like that? Why didn't they brush their teeth? Now, if they in your face talking and they didn't brush their teeth, just hold your breath or step back.
I'm sorry, sis. I'm
Um,
gonna have to politely ask, hey, sister, bro, you okay today?
well, you can, but they might not know. And then
Yeah.
on top of that, you never know how they're going to perceive
See,
what it
yeah,
is that you're saying. And
yeah.
then you could find yourself in a quickly manifested or unmanifested negative position. And what I'm trying to get people to understand is that the more you pay attention to your life
Yes.
and every little increment of your life, then the more you have a hold on your life. And then you will start to see in, say, you're an adult or a young adult that has young kids, you'll start to see that trickle down into your generation of new people. And then you'll see them uphold certain things that they should be learning versus what they should not be learning.
Mm-hmm.
And what we have learned is a lot of what we should not be learning. And as you see this crumble, because it is going to fall down, because we just left Pisces and now we're in the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius and Pisces are totally different.
Very much so.
And because Aquarius and Pisces are totally different, that era is now gone. Goodbye. We won't be seeing you no more. Not for a long time. Okay. We are now in Aquarius, and because we are two beautiful Aquarius that are sitting here, whether you think so or not, keep it to yourself.
I don't care if you know.
We're here embracing this moment of change because it's change that we've been wanting to come together.
Yes.
My perspective.
Yes.
Okay.
As well as mine.
It's time for us to start looking at our younger people as people we should be nurturing, feeding wisdom and knowledge.
Future leaders.
But not superficial.
There you go.
Wisdom and knowledge.
Yes.
We want to give them wisdom and knowledge that is stuff that they can use from now until the end of time.
Yes.
Well, how do you know? Because you do the research.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And then we don't have to judge each other. We can walk out the house and not feel judged by people. If you're a tiny, tiny girl and and you want to be thicker and you think everybody's looking at you, don't worry, ain't nobody looking at you, sweetheart.
And if they don't,
and if they are, they're judging you based off of who they are. Don't internalize that for yourself. They don't know you.
Transmute it as in, thank you.
Yes.
Good today.
There.
I did some silly shit like that.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, what else you got for me?
So we were talking about inner planets as well, and that is the only way people are really going to understand self even further is through the inner planets, right? What we looking at, sis? I was just going through the different inner planets. That's just the notes.
Yeah. This is
checking it out.
This is who you perceive. Yeah, this is who your perception of yourself is. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. So we can delve deep in that if you want to, sis, about the inner planets. If you
yeah, let's start with this one, and
the sun.
This one is these two are big. Yeah.
Sun and moon.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first one, sun, your core identity, ego, life force, conscious self determines your fundamental personality traits, who you are at your most basic level. Governs confidence, purpose, the will to succeed, self-expression. Want me to do the moon and then?
Oh, no. Let's do the sun first.
Okay.
It's the ego, the I am. Okay. This is who you're going to flex the dominance in you. In order to understand what your ego looks like, understand the planet and the zodiac sign that sits in it. Okay. Then you'll have to understand the shadow side of that, which is the side that we normally walk in first. Although we think we're walking in the light, most of the time we're in the shadows because you can't get into the light. Hold on, I got a great analogy. Before there was light, there was darkness.
It was.
God said, let there be light, and there was light.
And it came on. There you go.
Yes. And he seen that light was good. And then what? And then we had light, right? So before you can see the goodness in yourself, you have to see the dark.
Yes.
Okay. So most of us are walking in our shadow side But that's fine. Once you realize that this could be a shadow side of me, this is my ego. What is my ego here for? My ego is here to protect me from old, outdated stuff that used to come up because I haven't broken past that part of the DNA yet. And we don't see really too many people actually using an understood ego.
Yeah, because it doesn't die. It
No, it shouldn't die. You don't need it to die.
transforms with you.
You know,
So a lot of people say ego death, which is why I'm bringing that up because it doesn't die. It
yeah,
simply
that
just
doesn't.
transforms
So when I
with
think
you.
when they say ego death, I'm gonna clear this up a little bit, and I might be reaching, but this is what I think they mean when they say ego death. You've got to learn to look your ego in the face and understand who it is and why it's there. Once you do that, you allow your ego to take a break from always being in charge. Okay. So your ego is your sun sign. It's also the zodiac sign in the West that we always ask people, what's your sign?
Yeah.
And then the ones who don't know better, they say, I don't believe in that. Okay, we'll get into that at the end because that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, it is. It
But
is.
for us that know better, we know what our sun sign is. But for those who don't feel like them and their sun sign
Yeah.
are vibing, maybe you should get to know the planet and the energy of the planet that rules that
That's
zodiac
it.
sign, but you still have a plethora of signs around you
Yeah.
that you could be entering into those energies more. So
Yeah. Okay. So let's do the moon. Moon is your emotions, intuition, unconscious feelings. It says subconscious instincts and security governs your inner world and emotional reactions. How you respond to stress, nurture yourself and others. What makes you feel safe and secure.
okay, so the moon, with it being your intuition one, is going to be what you should be listening to a lot of. Two, it's also your unconscious mind, which is any unconscious negatives and unconscious positives that's back there. Your moon is also your emotions. So if your ego gets touched, your emotions will start moving, your ego will spike. Okay. Um, Manifesting right there, unconscious. If you know anything about the sciences, when they talk about the unconscious and the conscious mind has to feed it to the unconscious mind, and the unconscious mind has to accept it. Once the unconscious mind accepts it, then you get to see it played out on this theater screen called Earth.
Yes.
Okay.
With these two eyes, your
That's
projection.
yes, that's manifesting. So you need to know where your moon sits and understand the energy of the actual planet that sits in your moon and the zodiac that sits in your moon and also the house that sits in your moon so that you are able to understand how you as an individual will manifest the things that you want in your life. But also it will help you to understand emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Once you understand how your emotions will rise, then you'll understand how they're going to affect your ego. And then you'll see your subconscious act out. Why? Because whatever you've internalized subconsciously from your parents on how they act when they get in these funny ways, you're going to do the same because that's the last memory that you have of how to act in that way. So these two go hand in hand. You need to understand them because the more perception and perspectives that are out there, you have a right to yours as an individual, but your 2 cents, when I say that, I mean the judging parts of it, something you can internalize and talk to yourself about instead of vocalizing it out to people who really just don't need to hear it.
That's crazy because the next planet is Mercury. Okay. Communication, intellect, learning, reasoning, thinking process. You communicate and express your ideas, sense of humor. This is how you show your sense of humor, communication style, intellectual adaptability, how you learn and process information.
Mercury, communication, intellect, learning. Mercury is that planet that most of us know about, whether we want to or not. If you haven't at one time or another heard about a Mercury retrograde, then you're very new. You're very new.
much so.
Mercury is just that. You want to know where your Mercury sits because your sun and your Mercury may sit in opposite signs, or they might sit in the same sign. When I say opposite signs, usually I'm not going to put that out there yet because that number hasn't stuck, but I do know it's usually around where the sun is. It follows the sun close, it doesn't follow it too far apart. My Mercury sits in Aquarius.
Mine sits in Capricorn.
So I speak very like an Aquarius. My mind and my dialect are going to run together.
Yeah.
If your Mercury and your Sun are in different signs, your logic can be a little indifferent. It will help you to be able to understand these things. Find out where your Mercury is, find out what the planet is and the house is, do all the stuff that you were supposed to do for the first. And what you're going to start to do is you're going to start to see parts of yourself open up.
Yes. Yes.
If there are any chakras in these planets that need to open up or aren't aligned, you'll start, as you start to see little bits and pieces of yourself in there, they'll start to open up. You'll start to have more understanding of yourself. Then after you have that understanding of yourself, then you'll be able to look at others and start to see the sun shine in them, where you don't have to always be so opinionated about people.
Ashe, sis. Ashe, you had me thinking about how I'm Aquarius sun, so I was outside once and my Mercury is Capricorn and I was grounded and I'm outside just speaking and the wind is just blowing and it was something so inspirational in that moment because it's like I felt the two of them working together, but it was in a balance, more balanced
Very
way.
good, because Capricorn and Aquarius, they bump heads. Like,
I had an experience with someone I used to date, so I learned a lot. It took a lot of learning
I
self.
have that experience all the time, man.
So sis, going off the logic you gave with the sun and moon, how your emotions affect your ego and stuff like that. Think about how when you add your Mercury in there, if you don't have your emotions balancing, you get to expressing yourself.
If you're an air sign, you're gonna spit off on somebody. You are. If you're an air sign, I already know that. If you're once your ego is touched by your emotions, you're especially if you're an Aquarius, you'll tell you might. So I do know my moon is in Capricorn, and Capricorn likes for their emotions to pretty much stay unraveled. They don't like, I don't like too much high of anything. And I like to just stay on an even field, very nonchalant, real chilled out and cool. The high highs and the low lows, two extremes for me. I like it right.
You have me cracking up. You said it makes you want to throw up.
It does. So too much excitement, too high, too energetic, too overwhelming, and make me feel like I'm sick in my stomach. Too low, and I'm sitting there looking at people like I don't know what I'm about to do, but I'm not about to be here. But when now I do start to practice emotional understanding. But sometimes so I know too much about too much. Sometimes I can't keep my amygdala lit up if I done gave you all the warnings. I'm sitting here and I'm consciously telling you, just go ahead and move on. Let's drop this so I can give myself time to digest what's going on, digest what I'm about to say, and do these things so I can be logical about the situation. But if you're a person that's rah, 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 and you won't be quiet, usually I'm not a person that says shut up. But as soon as you hear that word come out my mouth, you might want to sit down somewhere.
I would say that's an overactive throat chakra right there.
But a person that's no, that's overactive emotions, but your air signs will definitely I cut for the jugular. If I need for you to just stop right there, and that's because my moon in Capricorn doesn't like to be, overwhelmed. The quickest way to stop you from causing me more struggle is for me to go ahead and decapitate you. So whatever words come out at the time, whether I mean it or I don't mean it, the point of me is to get you to just shut up at that point. And I said it like it was a two-edged sword. Because in tarot, the swords is your air signs anyways. And because our tongues are like two-edged swords. And that's the one meme that I do understand when they say about Aquarius is that we we can use our tongue as a double-edged sword. And we might not even mean it, but at that point
Yeah,
we meant it because we don't care.
yeah, yeah.
But with these planets being in these positions and you finding out what they are, what they mean, and how you're supposed to utilize them will start to help you to understand why you are you, and the person sitting next to you is who they are. The sun, back in the old ancient times before biblical situations came into play, the sun was actually what people revered as God. We need the sun. The sun shines in us, and the darker your complexion, the more sun you need. So the more you're looking up at the sun,
Yes.
the more you're pulling in that energy. Okay. And then Sis says that the sun is the core of your identity. It's your I am. It's your ego. It's the beginnings of who you are. When you move into your moon and you understand that that's your intuition, that's your manifestation, that's how you call things in. That's when you talk to the moon.
Talking to the moon.
Yes, it came up in my head too. Bruno Mars was for real when he said, I'm talking to the moon. If you are emotionally distraught, you don't know what's going on emotionally in your life, your intuition has been cut off, go talk to the moon. Beautiful. Literally go talk to the moon. You can also sit in meditation and use these planets and pull them in to align your chakras and to help you to understand more of who you are. I'm doing this, we're doing this because we're learning who we are, but we're also being able to let each other be each other and see self, which allows us to be able to do that for you as well, which means that I can understand that if you're in a big ego, understand, I might look at you funny and you're in your ego, okay? And then if you're too big in your ego, I might distance myself from you.
Yeah.
If you're somebody I love, I'm going to say something.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something, because being too much in your ego when it's not needed can cause your relationships and different things to be misunderstood. So it's imperative that you understand this so that when you perceive the world the way that you do, it gives you a good understanding as to what you're looking at.
Ashe, sis broke that thing all the way down. And as I was writing, I was like, okay, it makes sense why 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, my piece would say like the main 5 planets for self, but this is more than 5. But
I know where to stop though.
Yeah, it makes sense though. Like Venus is how you love.
Yep.
Everybody's not gonna love the same. And once I learned that, it had me think I have to be more specific on what
specific. That's okay. I got you.
I thought it was specific. Specific? Is it specific?
What are you saying? No.
Specific.
Suspicious. Which one? Specific or suspicious?
I'm gonna go with the first one.
Okay.
See how silly I get. I understand I need to find someone that, balanced, where my Venus sits.
Yes.
By the way, because my Venus is in Capricorn. And that's another thing, since I also learned you have to know the opposite zodiac sign of that ruling area for that. So mine is Capricorn and Venus.
My Venus is in Aquarius. I have a lot of Aquarius placements in my personal planets. My Venus sits in Aquarius. I love very different. I'm very open-minded when it comes to love. When I love you and I've decided that I've loved you, I put my loyalty in as an Aquarius, and then I'm not going anywhere no matter what you do, which is to my own detriment at sometimes. But I can say this, when I flip that switch, I don't flip it back. So once the switch has been flipped and I see you in a way that, because what I do is I will walk through a person's shoes on my own in my head. And I will go through every plausible scenario that I can go through. That way I can give you leeway, because I feel like if I judge you and I don't understand, I could go through any of these scenarios at any time. So I'm going to see it from your perspective. I do understand why people cheat in some scenarios. Okay. So I can't be the friend that says, well, sis, why did he cheat if you
Yeah,
don't understand? You see what I'm
yeah.
saying? And a
Hmm.
lot of people will get mad at me because I'll be the friend to say, well, I can see it from both
Yeah,
perspectives.
yeah. I lost a lot of friends.
Yeah, I have to. I have to. And I think that's when I realized that I was being friends to just about anybody without them being friends to me.
Hmm.
And knowing an Aquarius with as many placements as I have, I act like an Aquarius.
Hmm.
I'm going to give you, my boundaries are very little because most of us don't have high boundaries, and we will let you kick them down time after time because we can understand. It's when the understanding stops, is when the Aquarius decides that you're no longer worth their time. Once an Aquarius at my stature understands that you're not worth my time, what I'm doing is wasting my time. You're not listening, you're not trying.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like you say you're trying, but then after you say try, I need to see do. You're not doing any of this. At that point, I know that it's my time to say I can still give you the
Hmm.
understanding, but I cannot still give you the position that you played.
Shay, that makes sense. Since mine is in Capricorn, I do value loyalty a lot. And once that loyalty is tarnished, like already as a Capricorn in
That's Saturn
Venus,
placement.
man, like there is some boundaries up right there. I will be honest, there is boundaries up because, like I said, once you tarnish my loyalty, I feel like I can't trust you no more. And that's it. But overall, you're gonna get somebody who's very loyal to you. In this aspect, I think very logical when it comes to love. I can be open-minded to the
You're
superficial
very
stuff.
structured like Saturn.
Yes,
Hmm.
yes. So, and I get a lot of people don't get that. So that's why I said it's very important to understand what sign is your opposite sign.
Yeah, I'm not structured. I'll tell you who I am. I'm going to tell you how I am. I'm going to lay all my cards out on the table. I'm not going to embellish them. I'm going to tell you exactly who I am. There's no reason for me to embellish who I am. I can't keep up that persona.
Hmm.
Okay. I can only tell you who I am and who I know myself as at the moment. And if you don't regard what I'm saying, then if you see it, and it frustrates me to be able to tell somebody
Yeah.
who I am and then them come to me and tell me they figured I was embellishing. Why would I embellish who I am?
Yes.
But
Yeah, that's their
because
perspective,
because
I
I'm going
guess.
through this, yes, it is their
Yeah.
perspective,
Hmm.
and the environment that that person lived in. They were used to people saying that they were this or that or the other,
That's how
because
they picked
we
it up.
grew up in a, to me, the 80s and the 90s weren't all that
It
beautiful.
was just very colorful.
I feel like it was a lot of drama. And I
Well,
guess it depends on where you were in your time of life, but it just seemed like a lot of drama. And if you're looking back now, that's when NWA and all of them started to rise up and speak their message. And what looked like drama then is definitely drama now. So I can see it then, but you're still engulfed in it because you don't understand everybody else is doing it. And we're raised to be like everybody else
hmm,
until you realize that you grow up and you say, I don't want to be like everybody else. That's an
yeah,
Aquarius.
it gives me the ick. Oh,
Yes, it does. It really does. Knowing these positions in your life help you to understand you better. It also allows you to be yourself, and it also allows you to be able to sit back and contemplate who you were and how much you've changed.
Ashe, Ashe. And of course, the last planet is Mars. But again, like we
No, Mars
said,
is one of them.
yes,
Mars.
again, like we said, it just look what zodiac is with that planet and see
Yes.
how your drive, your passion, your courage, your action, your
Know
breath.
know who
Yes.
Mars is
Yes.
ruled by. Mars is Aries ruler. Know who Mercury is. Know why Mercury was here.
Mars is
I mean, oh, Mars, my bad.
it's
My
okay.
bad.
It's
Yes,
okay.
Mars. Mars. Know who Mars is because
Yeah.
you can see too much Mars in somebody.
You definitely can. So, sis, another thing we was talking about was
She said
retrograde.
Mars, Mars. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
We was talking about
Retrograde.
retrogrades. This
Okay.
was the last thing we were talking about retrogrades. I'm down deep in this.
Okay.
So, retrogrades, he was talking about how, I don't know if you want to share, how retrogrades be in birth charts and stuff like that. So we was expressing that having a planet in retrograde in your birth chart means that its energy is expressed in a more neutral, internalized, and unique and reflective way. Person with a natal retrograde placement may turn the energy inward instead of outward, leading to deep retrospection and different approaches to the area's life that planet governs. Opportunity of profound growth, not a curse, but deep development on unique perspectives. So that is what it means to have a retrograde in your birth chart. And all I did was just go down each planet and what it means with their retrograde. So
I've looked at those too,
yeah.
very still obscure information. This is correct. It is more internal. When a planet goes retrograde, some of your books that you'll read say it acts different. The energy moves quicker, it moves slower. But the planet actually didn't. It might have slowed down. I mean, if you know how fast the planets are spinning, then you would know if it speeds up or slows down. All I know is that it's in alignment with Earth. And if you look through a telescope out at the planet, when you're side by side, it looks like it's going backwards, but it's actually not. It's an illusion. But because it's in that position with Earth, it changes the way we utilize the energy that's there. Yeah. Want to talk about different that look at your birth charts, pull them out, get your perspective and your retrospect of what's going on there. If there's a retrograded planet, it'll have a RX, kind of like our medicine.
RX, will it show an RX or just an R?
No, it's an R with the line down and X, kind of like the sign for medication when you're going to get how it uses RX. That's what it looks like. Okay. And then you'll know. You can also go into some of your birth charts, like the one I gave you, Astro Seeker, I think it is. That one will tell you what planets are retrograde. You can put in, it'll tell you the retrograded planets during that year, and their month time frame in that year when they were retrograded. Retrogrades in your birth chart do affect wherever it is, the house, the planet, the astrological sign.
Yeah, all of it. That when you have it, wherever it's at, it will cause you to go inward and it's more intensified. It's a more intensified type energy.
Mercury being retrograde, I think it's Mercury, Mars. There's a few of them that's rare, but can cause different gifts. Let's put it like that. I do know Mercury being in retrograde will give you a different type of way of communication, but it also gives you a different gift from most people whose Mercuries are not retrograde. So there are some planets that are retrograde. I do know Mars is one of them. When Mars is retrograde in your planet, you're going to perceive that energy different. It's rare for it to be retrograde, and it makes you a more authentic person. Of course, I had to do that when I had to look that up. But there's a few planets that when they're retrograde can affect you way differently than regular, than some of the other ones. Yeah.
Well, for this one, sis, for Venus, it said it affects 7 to 8% of the population. Do you have that retrograde in your? Okay.
No. Okay. No, Venus is not what I, there are some things that we want to play with, but a lot of times we want these differences, and I'm very much an Aquarius who asks to be very different from a lot of people, and I've been doing this for a long time. But when you start to see these differences, it's true. If everybody is walking forward, I'm walking backward. And then because it's the masses, they're looking at you like, turn around, catch up. And it's, nah, I'm not going that way. If y'all jumping off the Empire State Building, I'm going to stand back here at the end of the line and watch.
You can go in front of me.
But no, my Venus is not retrograde. My Mars is, my Jupiter is, my Saturn is.
That's the generation.
Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and there's another one.
Uranus, Neptune, Pluto?
I don't know.
Okay.
And I know it's 4 of them.
Okay. Well, let me read what I found, sis, and see if it resonates. You said Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. So let me read what I found and see if it resonates. For Mars, may more complicated relationship with ambition, anger, or assertion. Energy may be internalized, causing to have difficulty to express anger directly or intense inner drive that is not always obvious to others, may struggle with competition and need to find their own authentic way to pursue their passion. That don't sound like you. Moving on.
No, it's very much me.
This Mars?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
My Mars is very much retrograde.
Okay.
If you see me, so I've seen people who see me in very intense situations.
Okay. Well, it does say
And
it's not obvious to others.
and he none of them knew what I was going through until after I went through it. And he specifically came to me and said, I had no clue you was going through all of that. He said, you never cried. He said, you never said anything. And I was like, what was I supposed to say? Nobody could help me.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay, so your Jupiter, unconventional belief system or takes a unique approach to their spiritual path. They may feel they have to make their own luck through careful planning instead of receiving luck automatically. That's
Which
for
one was
Jupiter.
that? So that's the Mars.
That one's for Jupiter.
Okay. Jupiter. Yep, it was retrograde. Saturn is retrograde.
I could read that one too, sis. May feel odds with traditional rules and authenticity, may develop their sense of responsibility later in life, or seek to build their own unique structures rather than fitting into societal norms. Well, we know that for sure.
And Pluto.
And Pluto. Okay, so Pluto may struggle with deep-seated fears and feel a powerful, though sometimes unconscious need to assert their will. And that's what I have. Retrograde. So what do you think about
that? Yeah, sure. It's all internalized.
Yes,
it's the stuff. That's why I usually ask people, do you go through this? Have you done this? Have you felt this? And I'm looking at them to know themselves well enough to be able to help me to understand what it is, because I really do operate a little bit different than
everyone else. Everyone else. And that's what makes you uniquely you. So do your own research, guys, on all of this stuff and everything. That is all we have for you at this moment.
I want to say this. I do want to say this. If you have an Aquarius in your life and you're not an Aquarius and you can't see who they genuinely are, then first of all, see if they know who they genuinely are, because they might be in an Aquarius in a position like me. I have an Aquarius mother. I have a lot of Aquarius family members, but just because our sun signs are the same doesn't mean that all our planets are doing the same thing. And it's hard. I understand now that people can't see who I am because it's all internal. It's not external, so they can't really see it. And I do struggle with some things, because in a relationship you do in your head, it is all in my head. You want to be that loving, bubbly person who gets overly excited, but it all happens in your head and it doesn't happen on the outside, okay? To me, that's what a lot of retrograded planets look like. Everything happens on the inside, but because it's happening on the inside, only you get to enjoy it. The other people don't get to enjoy that, and you're looking at them like, well, thank you for the present. And in the inside, you're jumping up and down like a little kid, but on the outside, you're composed. And I have a Saturn complex, so that could be it too. I have a Uranus complex. There's a lot of things that I have going on, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you have these things too. In order for us to be able to, most people can't look at me and say, okay, she seems cool. I've gotten people say I look stuck up, I act stuck up, I could be this, that, and the other. And then they get to know me and they be like, you're really cool. Yeah, you can't go off the outside. You got to know the person on the inside. So the best way to get a good perspective and perception of somebody is to know their planets. To get a good perspective and perception of who you are, know your planets. We're going to go from planets into numerology, so you can understand where your numbers line up, and numerology take us into word magic.
Yes, it will. I love it.
So, sis,
until then, guys, find your light, then fix your crown, family. Thank you for joining us. Peace, family.
Learn your planets.
Better. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more conscious talk.